Hi, welcome to this week's edition of Blue Soak. Again, John, Dave, and myself are going to look back over Ireland's great victory in the Autumn International against Australia. Look back at Leinster's very dismal performance against Treviso and look forward to all the Pro 12 games next weekend. Anyway, boys, we get the good news out of the way first. 26-23 the Aussies.
You can't beat it. I think we were just saying it was a very fast game, fastest game Johnny Sexton's ever been in his life, which says something. I think after some of the games he's been in, I thought we were away like after 17-0, 16 minutes, 32 minutes, it's 2017 or whatever it was. It was just hard to credit. But the two tries that were intercepts could easily have gone the other way if Zebo had connected with his. We could have been in. If Tommy Bowe had missed that intercept, his intercept was right in front of me, and I could see it coming.
Yeah, it was like
he's going to intercept
in 5,
4, 3, 2, and go. And he barely made the other end of the pitch as well. I thought he looked shagged after it. I thought he was flagging in the middle of the run even. Maybe that's to do with the pace of the game or some of the runs he had to put in.
You're not designed for that kind of distance at sprint. It's 20 meters, 40 meters. I think it was very fast the first half, and then when towards the end of the first half, when it became apparent that Australia liked that kind of fast and loose rugby, second half, Joe Schmidt, we played turnip rugby in the second half. And it was the right way. It's how you win a match.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's the thing about. I mean, people say about Joe Schmidt. It's the offloading game. It's fast paced. It's not. Joe Schmidt rugby is winning rugby
And smart rugby.
Yeah, and it's however it has to be done.
Yeah,
and that's what it is.
But it's not just. I guess when he was appointed, everyone said, "Oh, Ireland are going to be playing this super duper sexy rugby, offloading, as you say, Dave. Like similar to what Leinster did for about 3 years under him." And really, when you look back over the last Six Nations and the Autumn Internationals, it's 8 games. We kicked the ball an awful lot.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, people often forget.
But we win.
In 2010, 2011, Leinster played a very fast-paced offloading game. 2011, 2012, we didn't. We were one of the lowest offloaders in the final stages of the Heineken Cup that year, because if you do the same thing as you've done last year, you've gone backwards. Well, and people expect. I mean, it's like everybody says. How many times have the commentators said about Leinster or indeed Joe Schmidt's Ireland, the inside pass? Actually, if you notice, Ireland don't do that much
anymore.
They don't. No, they don't. They did it a lot last year. They don't do it that much this year. It's noticed when it's done because it's so rare.
But our global tactics changing that now the kick is just so predominant. It's all. But when Ireland do kick, it's, and again we'll talk about Leinster's performance, and the difference in how the team kicks, it just seems to say for Leinster, we kick the ball just to get rid of it. Which under Schmidt, every kick has to make. It makes yards, it makes territory, it puts the opposition under pressure. We clear our line. Everything there's a purpose to it.
Kicking is more, and it's changed the nature of kicking as well. And I think one thing that has done that is the scrummaging laws. If you're a really strong scrummaging team against a team that isn't a strong scrummaging team, you kick contestables. Right, because
worst case scenario,
you knock it on, you still have a chance in the scrum. If you're a team that isn't a strong scrummaging team, you're going to kick very conservatively, and you're going to kick long, and you're going to work on your line out instead.
That's us. And we're not working on our line out.
Well, it didn't quite work, but we would be a team that would be stronger out of touch than in the scrum.
Historically, yes.
So we are going to kick long, and we're going to kick, and then we're going to play the game in the opposition half, because that's the way that. The strengths and weaknesses of our team are. Yes, we're very good in the air, so yes, we can kick contestables, because if you've got Tommy Bowe, if you've got Rob Kearney up in the line,
and
then
we're also very
it.
good kickers of the ball in the back line.
In Murray and Sexton. If you're Murray Sexton, you look out the corner of your eye, you see one of those two guys in the line, then you kick the contestable. Otherwise, you go long. Because you're looking at which is your strongest set piece, and that can change from game to game. And the thing is, we have the players to change tactics from quarter to quarter within a match, let alone from game to game. And that's the greatest thing Joe Schmidt has brought to Ireland.
Not just Murray and Sexton, though. Look, Zebo, Henshaw, Rob Kearney, they're all great kickers as well.
Huge boots on all of them
across the back line. But the whole Joe Schmidt thing and the way he's more conservative with Ireland, there's a number of factors, and one which it kind of came back to me over when Rocky Elsom left Leinster. Somebody said to him somewhere in the media, "Are you going to bring Leinster's game plan to the Australian team now?" And of course, Rocky just laughed and said, "You know, it wouldn't. It's a fairly basic game plan, and it wouldn't suit international rugby. You know, it wouldn't suit the Australian team. It wouldn't, you know." And you know, okay, he didn't laugh, but he was kind of fairly dismissive, understandably. And you know, the pace of a game alone, the pace of the international game alone, factor in also the fact that Schmidt is not getting as much time with the players as he would do if it was a club side. You can't develop the kind of tactics and the moves and the, you know, of course you can have a few backs moves, but you can't really coach in the way you can with a club side. So you know, there's two, just off the top of your head, reasons why you can't bring
at the highest level of international rugby. We're talking about between tier 1 countries and the top level of the Heineken Cup, European Cup. Talking about the knockouts and the best teams, the Toulouses. Well, maybe not this year, but you know, in general, the best teams. You'll generally find games between those teams are quite, from the outside looking in, look to be quite conservative, because the reason for that is every team does everything right pretty much all the time. At that level, teams don't make defensive errors. They don't leave themselves skinny on the blind side in terms of numbers. They don't have, you know, a weak line-out. They don't have a weak scrum. They don't have a fullback who's poor kicking off his left foot. They just don't have those weaknesses. So what you're doing is you can't do the big, vainglorious effort. You have to keep just probing and probing and probing, because you'll get a half chance.
And international rugby is up again from that.
But you'll get a half chance. That's what I'm saying.
But like even O'Gara.
So just to take it back to what Joe Schmidt has done, we saw against New Zealand, we got a couple of half chances. We took them. We had one more half chance. We didn't take it. We lost the match. That kick that Sexton had. We missed the half chance. Against Australia, we had the half chances. We took them all.
Yeah.
And we won the match. It was a narrow win, but they didn't take their chances. We did, and at that level. It looks conservative, but it's actually not. It's conservative the same way as chess is conservative.
Yeah.
Well, just like O'Gara, just emphasising your point, O'Gara actually, when he was interviewed, you know, made the point that international rugby is just such a higher step than Heineken Cup, that because he said there's no crap players in the teams at the highest level, whereas a Heineken Cup team there can always be someone who is one or two in a particular side, but like, when you're playing on Australia, New Zealand, England, France, really they are the creme de la creme, and there's no weaknesses.
Or Ireland.
Or Ireland, perhaps now, yeah. Well,
the other side of that argument is that if you're a team with a weakness at Heineken Cup level, you just buy in a better player. You can't do that at Ireland.
No, you can't. It's fair enough, but like not everyone has that option.
No, but when I'm talking about Heineken Cup level, I'm talking about your Toulons, your Leicesters, your Leinsters, your the very best of the best. I mean, if they have a weak player. Well, hopefully we'll talk about Jimmy Gofford later. But if they have a weak player, they go out and they get somebody else in. It's like Toulon, if they have a weak player, or if they have a strong player, they get somebody better in.
They're a bit of a...
So, but generally at international level, pretty much all the players are pretty good. I mean, you still find the occasional Nigel Walker or Arwell Thomas or Peter Wright in there every so often. But pretty much you can guarantee at the Tier 1 international teams, at least 14 of the players will be absolutely bang on international class.
Well, and that's probably another reason this year we had to be so conservative, was the lack of our top carriers.
And 16 other guys.
And I was just about to say, and 16 other guys. So we were kind of, while we may have had no weak players, we had guys who wouldn't have been necessarily first choice, like who there would have kept Sean O'Brien and Cian Healy out of the team, for example. Nobody. That's who. And you know, without Sean Cronin starting against Australia as well, that's yet another person who isn't going to be there to carry and make the hard.
Yeah, and just as you mentioned, one of the injured players, like obviously Chris Henry, has been more bad news from today, that he had a heart operation.
Wow.
To alleviate
To mend a tear, I believe it was. But it's bad news because obviously it's a very serious operation. But the other side of that is it's good news because
They found it.
They found it and they fixed it. And as we've seen from Richard Strauss, once it's fixed, it's a good fix, you know.
Yeah.
So he'll obviously have to take time out while he recovers, and he has to take a serious amount of drugs to get over that. But once that's done, he'll be back playing rugby, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's a negative,
Yeah.
but it's also a positive.
Well, his health is more important.
Oh God, yeah. Well, this gives them a chance. I mean, we just to take it slightly off topic. I mean, we talk about one of the big problems in Ireland is sudden adult death syndrome. And we talk about, say, with the international rules was on this weekend playing for the Cormac McAnallen Trophy. I mean, in a way, isn't it great that athletes are now in a position where they're so scanned that these things can be found and analysed and fixed? I mean, if he was just, you know, I don't know, an accountant or whatever, he could, something terrible could have happened to him because he wouldn't be in that position where he'd be so medically examined.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, so.
Anyway, why don't we have a quick look at Zebo's try?
This is just actually we're talking about Cronin. This is Rory Best's strength. His game, Rory Best
Devin Toner.
ability to sniff out a chance though. To see that ball was there, you know.
Yeah, it's a lovely rip, all right.
Yeah.
Toner is great at that choke tackle, though, isn't he?
Yeah, he's picked it up from Mike McCarthy. He's picked it up well. The kick is just it's a thing of beauty.
Yeah. Sexy toes. Both of the people beside me said that was Conor Murray kick, that wasn't it? They nearly had me convinced. But
It's awareness, isn't it? To see the
heads
acres of
up
space.
Yeah.
And you know, good bit of pace on Zebo
But
to
the thing
make
is
it
that,
there.
like, that's just not a natural thing. That's practice. That,
Of course
you
it
know,
is.
That's
on
a bad move.
on a turnover,
Yeah,
they're
turnover
going to
ball,
be up,
yeah.
and there's going to be space in
If
the back, and
it's
Zebo
turnover
has,
ball and Adam Ashley Cooper's up on the line, put it in over his head.
and then Zebo has to be aware of that.
Sexton said that they had a lot of fancy backs moves that they didn't get a chance to try because the possession, you know, the platform let them down at times, or you know, just they didn't get in the right area to try them. But maybe for the Six Nations that might be a good thing. Nobody's seen those fancy backs moves, and will.
I was disappointed with we're delighted with getting 3 wins over the autumn series, but our line out has just not
And our
functioned,
scrum,
and our scrum to an extent as well. And it's worrying that, you know, Australia wouldn't necessarily be the strongest line out option.
They beat Australia in the line
pretty
out. I
good.
think Australia have always turned out an awful lot of good, annoying, narky locks. That's what they've. Australia have always. I mean, you think back even
Got a
to
lot of
the.
big tall guys in Australia
Think
for
back to the
whatever
2001
reason.
Lions tour and they made shit of the Lions line out. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Harrison and his mates.
Yeah.
Australia's counter.
This particular team, Dave.
This particular team had they brought on Horwell as a sub. Like, I mean, they're not short of talented things. What I think we have is
So they brought on Big Willie Skelton.
brought on Big Willie Skelton. All right,
24.5 stone.
Yeah.
Like,
Unliftable
hardly
Willie
lift-
Skelton.
Yeah, exactly.
He's ridiculous.
What the problem we have is
Size.
there is a systems issue. I think.
Well, it's interesting to hear O'Connell, you know, basically say that he's getting. Maybe he's just taking one for the team because he's pretty much bulletproof. But you know, he is taking the responsibility and saying, "Well, I'm not calling it correctly." But like, it's a team.
There's a
I
lot
always
to
say there's
it,
at least three elements to any successful line out. The most basic line out is the thrower, one lifter at least, and the jumper.
And the correct call, Dave. You could throw in.
Well, but all three have to be right before you even think about winning a line out, you know? And that's without even thinking what the opposition do. So then you throw in all the funny ones. I was disappointed. I think that Best's throwing was askew. Normally Best gets the yips. He didn't look like he had the yips. He was just not throwing accurately.
He said it was something to do with his neck. It was, you know, his last neck operation that his throwing has.
Do you remember there was a
trouble.
game last season where he came off and
Ever
he was
since.
like walking like a hunchback?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, maybe O'Connell feels that maybe I should have thrown a couple of safe bankers to number 2, let him build up his confidence before, or throw it. I always think that, I was always told when I was playing rugby that the 2 ways you can let a hooker get his confidence back are throw safe bankers or just try one of your stunt lineouts. And if that works, everybody feels good about it because you've out-thought the opposition, and then hopefully that gets the guy back on track.
So rarely works out.
Stunt lineouts at international level,
I don't
though,
like them.
you know.
I don't like them, but this is it's a school of thought.
Actually, Treviso did one at the weekend,
Yeah,
didn't they?
but it is a school of thought. It's not one that I particularly agree with, but certainly thrown to your banker, it's the old classic. If your hooker's got the yips, but I don't think the problem is the yips. I think the problem is he's just not accurate. He wasn't accurate.
Yeah. Anyway, So we have a good Tommy's very fortuitous try.
Yeah,
Yeah.
certainly was.
It was a 3-on-1.
Exactly.
It was a great
We
bit of
missed
defence.
this.
I mean, we did set up the 5-4 boom. We did set up the opportunity for the intercept by getting the blitz line up in midfield.
Yeah.
When you do that, you've always got a chance of an intercept because their line is going
But
backwards.
Tommy had no option because he couldn't have
Oh, yeah.
defended the
Yeah.
3-on-1.
No,
So
no.
all he could do
He
was
had
go
to
for
intercept,
it.
yeah.
And your man picked him out like an extra step
Perfect,
instead
yeah.
of avoiding the one green
But
jersey.
if the guys in the midfield hadn't made that tackle where they'd made that tackle, he would have still been trying to defend a 3 or 4 on 1, but going backwards instead of coming forward onto the ball. That's the difference. If you notice here, he's coming forward onto the ball because of the tackle those guys made.
You can't quite see it on the telly, but how far back he started that run.
Yeah.
But where I was sitting, it was you just I don't know how the Australian players, they obviously weren't looking at him because it was just it had to happen.
Fooled the cameraman.
Yeah.
Fooled everybody. But look at him, isn't he getting a bit? Well, he's easing up obviously because he knows he's made it.
Yeah.
But looked to me like he was struggling there.
I think part of the credit for that one has to go to the two guys who made that crash tackle in midfield. I thought it was a good one.
Yeah, well,
We
that was-
were up very hard at the
Yeah.
beginning. We were, our rush defense and their rush defense in the second half was
But
amazing.
it was brutal. Like I mean, the tackles that were going in.
Oh,
Like,
it was
even
vicious stuff.
Even in the last minute, I know they were attacking again, and I've said just a few games this season that have reminded me so much of Saracens, but it was pretty much a carbon copy.
I was running at it like, and I was as far back from the pitch, literally as far back as it's possible to be in the stadium. And I was just forget the ball, lads. Just trying to just make the tackles. Who cares about the ball?
Yeah, but like the tackle that O'Connell made, I mean, it's been spoken about, but it just goes to show the ferocity that was still going on. At the 79th minute, those people have been driven back 5 yards. Like.
Yeah, it was huge. It was
And the commitment that Australia still had because your man managed to get the offload.
Yeah, and the attack went on as well.
Yeah.
But at least it kind of gave them something to think about. It paused them for a minute.
It's always
We've often said though that it's not about at a high level. It's not about what pain you can inflict or
it's how much you can take.
How much pain you can take. It's the same as a street fight. If some guy hits you with his best shot and you're able to stay standing and look at him and smile, he's gone. Mentally, he's gone. And it's the same thing on a rugby field. Like, you might be just about able to stand and you might just about be able to crack a smile, but as long as you can do that and you go after him straight away, he's not.
Is that all you got, Joe?
Is that all you got, Joe? Seriously. And the same with rugby. Remember our quarter-final against Leicester in the Heineken Cup in Lansdowne Road? The Aviva Stadium, where the lads reckoned that if they had to go on another 2 or 3 minutes, they would have lost the game because they were just gone.
Yeah.
Leicester didn't know that. And that's the whole, Leicester were probably looking at us going, how did they do that? How did they keep that up? How could they? But we did. And, all you've got to do is be able to keep it up that bit longer and take that bit more pain, and it's not, as I said, it's not the dishing it out, it's the taking it. How much are you willing to put your body through? And thankfully enough in these guys' case.
There's a few fellas that were playing on Sunday that might question that attitude. And one guy I'd say who's delighted he wasn't playing was Luke Fitzgerald, who happened to pull out at the 11th hour. And I'd say he's quite happy not to be associated with possibly one of the worst displays I've seen from a Leinster team in the last few years.
That's hyperbole, Jason.
I felt like
we've lost
that.
to Treviso.
Hold on.
We've lost.
Okay, Dave, hold on. This is a Treviso team that have lost about 10 of their squad
quite
from
well.
And the same as
they're playing quite well.
And the
they
same
have
as they
won.
had
They haven't won one game this season.
How many
In
games?
the match, they played
How many
quite
games
well.
did they won when they beat us? When they beat us,
I don't know, Dave.
they'd won none.
Okay, but
Right.
I'm just saying that this season they're a atrocious
many
team.
how many
They're not the best team in Italy this year.
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that what you're saying is the worst Leinster performance in years. It isn't. That's hyperbole.
It's one of the worst performances
down
I've
there.
seen Leinster
It's
play.
one of the worst. But to say,
Okay, well,
is it worse than losing to them?
Well,
No, it's not.
no, okay.
Right. So that's a hyperbolic statement.
Yeah.
Now it's a diabolical performance, and there's lots of things wrong with it.
I have to say, I felt exactly the same as Jason.
There's
at
no
the
point.
final
There's no
whistle.
point in running around with our heads on fire, as a former Irish coach would say. It's a very bad performance. There's things that need to be fixed. A lot of things
Dave,
that need to be fixed. But
we had an opportunity to win the game. We were 25
That's
meters in front of the posts.
the hardest part.
With 30 seconds to go, and our out half,
Yeah.
who's paid probably more money than the three of us, our combined salaries, couldn't kick the bloody ball 25 meters over
absolutely,
the sticks.
absolutely. And the person who signed him should be questioned severely. Who signed him?
Joe Schmidt. But,
Right. Well, there you go.
Well, the point is that Joe Schmidt probably signed him for a different role. He didn't probably start him. He didn't sign him to be the starting out half for a majority of the season. That's certainly what he didn't sign him for.
So he signed him for this match.
Well, he didn't perform in this match.
Lads, calm down.
But that's my point. You see, the thing is, there's
Dave,
lots of blame to go around, but you have to put it in the right place.
Well, okay, but I'll tell you one thing that I would be doing. I'd be looking at his commitment to the club, because he knows that his days in Leinster are numbered, and clearly he isn't playing to up to scratch.
I don't think he'll be here next year, and I don't want him here next year. I think our two out halves
I don't want
next
him here
year.
next week.
Well, we're stuck with him for the remainder of the season. I mean, the reality is.
Well, what I mean is, I don't want him starting next week.
No, I don't want him starting next week. The reality is, we're stuck with him for the remainder of the
we
season.
shouldn't just throw it all into one player. Also in that team, there was a Springbok,
Yeah,
a Wallaby,
couple of lines. Were there?
no, but there was a few Irish internationals. There was fellas like you had Boss, you had Lockie, you had Strauss that had won Heineken Cups.
Dave
You had
Kearney.
Dave Kearney, who had won a Six Nations.
Carney was very rusty.
Were very rusty, and he hasn't played for 6 months. So I'd nearly give him a pass.
Yeah.
But there's been fellas that have been like Mackin. You know.
You see, it's a very bad. I
Like
think
one guy that did impress me, and he has impressed me since he started with Leinster, is actually two guys, Byrne and
Mick McGrath.
Mick McGrath.
I was very impressed with him.
Fanning.
And Fanning.
Fanning.
I thought
yes.
Fanning was very good.
Mick McGrath was kind of run out with his head on fire, which in some ways was what was needed.
Yeah, somebody need
But
actually, and this is a case of somewhere where we did need heads on fire, because himself and
That's commitment.
Fanning,
He was showing commitment. He possibly
Himself,
got caught a couple of times, but
Fanning,
he was definitely.
Brian Byrne, I think, could be absolved of most, if not all, of the blame. The rest of them need to have it. I mean, the thing is, people can blame the coach, you can blame the out half, but I mean, these are experienced players. There's a lot of internationals on that pitch, a lot of Irish internationals on that pitch, a lot of world internationals from around the world on that pitch. And it's not one player that we didn't lose the game because Jimmy Goppert missed a drop goal.
No,
we lost the game because of the stupid things we did all through the game, right? Because players not actually doing their jobs, and because of the coach not putting them in
Well, here's the thing.
a position where they can do their jobs properly. But at the end of the day, I mean, Jimmy Goppert. People say, "Oh, Jimmy Goppert," but this was the game he was signed for. This is the game that Joe Schmidt signed him for.
Absolutely.
Right? We had no other out half. The other choice was Cathal Marsh. Now, personally, I think Cathal Marsh deserves a chance.
Why not?
No, I think Cathal Marsh deserves a chance. But that's your option. Your option is, a 20-year-old kid,
Maybe he
or
would've-
the guy that was signed for this
Maybe
game.
he would have
But
made that dropper.
But
Yeah.
Goppert's a busted flush now. He's
Yeah.
gone. Well, presumably he's gone at the end of the season with Madigan there for another year, and Johnny Sexton coming home on a 4-year deal. So presumably,
Oh, Goppert's gone.
right, Goppert's
I
gone.
can't see him
So at this
re-signing.
stage, surely it's in the best interest of Leinster rugby and Irish rugby to bring in a young kid like Cathal Marsh and to give him the experience, because what's Gopper doing? Like, we're just going to
Yeah, I've been
plod
saying that
along.
for a year. I've been saying Cathal Marsh should be pretty much Leinster's number 2 out half. Because I think that's the situation he's going to find himself in.
Well,
Because if we imagine that the same kind of selection criteria will apply to the Irish team next year as this, we're not going to see much of Sexton and Madigan.
no, Madigan's
anyway.
going to be gone at the same time.
So we're not going to see
which
much of them.
Wasn't the case last
So
time Sexton
we have
was
to
here.
we have to do something. But I've been saying that for the last 12 months, and people have been saying, "Oh no, you're just saying that because you don't want Madigan to play out half." Yes and no.
Well,
One of the things, right? We can apportion blame to a lot of places, but this is the first game after 3 weeks, right? So this is the opportunity for all the players who weren't going to be in the Irish squad to step up and impress.
And they didn't.
But more importantly, this is a game that somebody like Matt O'Connor should have guys really fired up for. Like, we're going to go over to these guys. This is a chance to go and put these guys to the sword and, really have them jizzed up, mentally have them switched on. They weren't mentally switched on. Some of that blame has to go on the shoulders of the coach. They weren't
No, they weren't.
mentally in the right place. Yes, these guys have scored one losing bonus point in the whole season and haven't won a match. But, it's like you can't come into town with that kind of swagger. And yes, the team we had out, based on those facts, should be hockeying them. They should have been putting 5 tries on them, and not letting any in.
It's interesting actually that's only the second try bonus point that an Irish team has scored against Treviso since they started in the
and here's the last thing in this train is we've accused both Zebra and Treviso of being spoiling teams. Treviso were not a spoiling team last Sunday. They did all the fucking running
because they saw blood.
They smelled blood. But they threw the ball around.
They had very few Italians on the
team. Their
hooker
scored a goal. Scored a try on the wing. Their hooker.
I don't think that the expansive game that they had, in comparison to the normal game, is unrelated to the lack of Italians in the team. Because I think that Italian rugby is actually in a negative phase at the moment in terms of the style of rugby just been played in Italy. I think the Italian national team are playing pretty much a 10-man game at the moment, even though they seem to have discovered some outside backs. But anyway, that's a side issue. I think that one thing that really disappointed me was there's guys who might have been, maybe not there, but certainly thereabouts for selection for the Heineken Cup. I'm talking about Kevin McLaughlin and Jordy Murphy.
Mm-hmm. Another guy who's just back.
Yeah, I'd nearly give him a rider as well because he's...
Yeah, but if you give a lot of guys a rider, then you can't blame the team for losing.
Well, no, but hold on. But if a guy hasn't played in 6 months, you can't really apportion too much blame to him. And there's 2 of those guys, Dave. There's 13 other fellas that have been playing constantly and regularly.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. I mean,
there's 2 out of 23.
This guy's a championship winner. He won the Six Nations Championship last year.
But he hasn't played a game in 6 months.
Well, that's neither here nor there. He's playing for Leinster. Should he have been played then?
Well, you have to
play him somewhere.
You have to have a game
exactly.
You see, this is the thing. I mean, there's about 4 or 5 different arguments that you could have about this whole game.
You can't. But it wasn't just you can't say, oh yeah, well look, Jordy Murphy was rubbish. Possibly wasn't in a great game.
I'm not saying he's rubbish. I'm saying he wasn't ready for the match.
There's far worse players on that pitch.
Yeah,
and worse performance.
It's actually amazing that if you'd have said before that game, what would our ideal result be? Most people would have said a win, 4 points. That would have been. We would have been happy with that.
Short.
We only came 1 short at the end of the day. Now, it's the performance, and yes,
it's dreadful.
We said before the 2 schools of thought, or the 2 opposing philosophies, which are both correct in some ways. If you can win when you're playing badly, then it's a sign of a good team. But if you put in shit performances, eventually you'll get found out. That those 2 would appear to be contradictory, but in this case, it's performance, and that can demoralise the team as well. Putting in a performance like that.
Unlike a lot of previous performances, that actually was a shit performance.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, other performances that people have said have been poor performances weren't actually poor performances; they were boring performances.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And there's a difference. That was a shit performance. That I thought that was
we're beaten by an on fire Connacht team in Galway. Right, that were so pumped up for whatever reason Connacht seemed to get pumped up against, but in the last minute I think we didn't have the balls to go for
the gumption
for a dropper as well. We bottled it, or our out half bottled it in that game, bottled it in this game. But with Treviso, Dave, they're not a good team. They're
no, I don't think they are a good team, and I don't
team.
think we played particularly well. But I think that to say that
they lost a third of their squad to
Leicester.
To
say that it's the worst performance in recent years, I just don't accept that, because we have lost to Treviso. To say that that guys and then start mitigating players because we quite like them, like say for example Jordy Murphy, either he's good or he's bad. If he's picked for Leinster, he's supposed to be good. I don't care. If Dave Carney's picked for Leinster, he's supposed to be good, right? Or at least up to a certain standard, and they weren't. So if you've got a situation, and then you get the general review where our back row didn't function at all. I mean, you look at the try they scored off the Conan McGrath Schmozzle, right? That back row didn't function at all. No part of that back row did its job for the entirety of the match. We were wiped out of it at the breakdown, absolutely wiped out of it, right? And you can blame Jordy Murphy. I mean, Dominic Ryan came onto that, and things didn't improve all that much. So it's not entirely Jordy Murphy's fault. I mean, there's a lot of blame to go around. Our tackling was poor at best. It was porous at worst. We've discussed Jimmy Goppert's inability to take that drop goal, right? So there's a lot of stuff went wrong.
Would you think that maybe it's a little bit like South Africa when they played Ireland? They were just that little bit complacent, a few percent that they were laughing and joking going out in the field.
I'd be very disappointed if a Leinster team went out complacent.
But we got off to a great start.
Just a
Maybe
bit.
We can have a look at the first try.
I think interestingly enough, a lot of Leicester supporters were very complacent. I mean, all the talk was how many tries we'd score.
We scored 4.
Yeah.
If we'd have scored 4 and a dropper, we would have had 2 extra points out of the game. And we would have been saying how we burgled a win.
I mean, that was a
Nice
good
try. Nice try, Fanning.
Like Sky didn't have they lost their
Sky
satellite.
missed
whatever,
that one,
the first few minutes, and when we
Sky
eventually
mightn't have it, but I do.
when we eventually came back to it, and you saw, oh God, Leinster up, you just thought, well, this is going to be a nice romp in the park for the boys.
Foot off the gas, though.
Yeah. Well, that was it. I mean, it was. I mean, this is the second try, and again, there's a lot of really good play in it. I mean, what it does is highlight the paucity of maybe the rest of the play.
Yeah. And when we put it together, the few times we did put it together, we were fairly decent. And this is a good example, this try.
Mm-hmm.
We did a lot of things right. The fact that we only did them for a few minutes. It was a lovely handoff and a great pass from Conan.
Yeah, everything about that try was nice, and it only highlighted. I mean, it was the what seldom is wonderful kind of thing. It only highlighted how poor the rest of the performance was.
But like you highlight their try with mess up between Conan and McGrath, 2 fairly young players now. I know we're giving everybody a pass here all of a sudden, but perhaps it was the control. It was Conan who, as I said, just did some amazing stuff there.
The funny thing is, I mean,
perhaps
I know,
it was his control.
I know Jason wouldn't agree with this point, but and he wouldn't even posit this. I'm not saying this is your view, but if you take all the guys who are given passes to, right, and then the guys who should never be, to listen to some Leinster fans, should never be in the Leinster team, like Bent and Dara Fanning and Mick McGrath. And indeed Luke McGrath. All you're left with is poor Kevin McLaughlin standing there on his own with Italians flying left, right and centre.
Yeah, and here's a young man that I think has a bright future.
Future.
Brian Byrne. He showed a good bit of pace for quite a stocky lad.
Lovely block down.
Yeah, I think he's a cracking player.
And their 9 was looking at that going, yeah, there's a good idea. I think I might do that later. But yeah, it was a lovely block down from him and well followed up. More of that, please. One of our 3 players to get an actual pass rather than a pass because they weren't very well.
Yeah, I thought he was good. I think he's the genuine article. He's going to be in or around Leinster teams, provided we don't get rid of him or he doesn't leave for a long time or he doesn't get injured. I mean, he has a lot. I think once he gets his darts right, and that'll only come with practice. I mean, he's still what age is he? 19, 20?
20.
Yeah. Wasn't that long ago? Himself and his brother were
playing for Congos.
I think
it was 2 years ago.
But
yeah.
So it's interesting that amidst the swine shit, there are pearls.
Of course, always.
And Fanning second.
Yeah. I haven't got the full thing, but this actually follows a great break down the line by Fanning and Mick McGrath.
Yeah, like those 2 guys have kind of come from pretty much
AIL.
AIL and like there's a good ad on I think it's for Lucas Aid Sport.
Yeah, I've seen that one with Mick McGrath.
And like he's kind of come through a very sort of through the back door, I suppose, to get his contract with Leinster.
I always think it's quite amusing. I mean, for years, one of the big complaints: Leinster never pick players from the AIL. Guys don't play AIL. Why aren't this guy's in the AIL? Why are you going for a foreign player? And then as soon as we get a couple of guys out of the AIL, those guys are playing the AIL. They're not good enough to be playing for Leinster.
Can't win, Dave.
Yeah, I think you can win if you got the right connections.
Not if you play like that, you can.
No, you can't win if you play like that. I mean, even that. I mean, even Isaac Boss, the king of the ruck snipe, comes up short. Like
Fanning there to finish it off.
Well, it was a crucial score for us.
Yeah. I think Fanning's been one of the best players we've had this season. If you were having player of the season now, would you look much beyond Dara Fanning?
Certainly give it to him for his commitment, work rate,
try scoring.
and being tall.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, but the thing is, I mean, ultimately, what you want from a winger, there's lots of things you want from a winger. We won them, and you know, it's not always been there with various wingers because they compensate in other ways. But one of the things you want is try scoring, and I think he's our top try scorer this season, isn't he?
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I think it was. A penalty try last year, wasn't it?
It was P try,
Mr. P try.
No, I think that there are things that have to be done. I mean, obviously we get Redden back, we get Madigan back next week for the Ospreys, hopefully.
Yeah.
And
Well,
they're
in training today, so
But
good sign.
Does it not sort of like? There's now becoming, and it was sort of. It reminds me a bit of what was happening when Matt Williams was the coach in Leinster. That there was a two-tier system within Leinster, and there was a lot of resentment from the sort of the B team.
Second stringers.
And I think there's a bit of that starting to happen. I'm an outsider looking in, so I haven't a clue. But it just strikes me that in our successful 5 or 6 years, that there was, it seemed to be that the collective was so strong that, and there was such competition for places that there didn't seem to be an A and a B team. We knew that there was one team was international team and one team weren't in. One part of the team weren't internationals.
We
but
had
they
some
could
guy
slot
who was,
in.
there was some really good guy who was a great selector and he's a really good coach. What was his name again?
you see, I think to be perfectly honest, I think
Schmidt.
yeah, Schmidt's gone. He's never coming back. Joe Schmidt will never coach Leinster again, right?
Well,
this is his last job
Dave,
in Ireland.
Dave, we used to see Leinster play. We used to see Leinster play in these particular matches during the autumn internationals, during the Six Nations, and we would win the Pro 12 in these periods.
And the point you said, one phrase was what I was interrupting you there was competition for places. Do you think any of those guys put their hands up for selection?
For the Champions Cup? No way.
Whereas in previous years, even last year,
yeah.
I mean, last year we went into this time last year, we were 1 place higher and 2 points better off than we are now. But at this phase, those guys, we were further back earlier on. But if that makes sense.
But say 4 years ago, you had the likes of say Kevin McLaughlin, you had Fergus McFadden, you know, maybe a young Dave Carney coming through, and those guys pushed and while they may or they may not have made the first 15, they were in the frame for selection. There's very few that played on Sunday that you'd say, God, yeah, we have to write his name down.
The question is that because
Brian Byrne?
Yeah, well, the question is
Marty Moore came through last year.
The question is that because of the coach or because of the players themselves?
I don't know.
Because you're saying, there's a 2-strand or a 2-tier thing growing in the squad. I don't know if there is or not. Again, like yourself, I'm not. But if there is, you'd kind of think there should be, because there's the guys who are performing, and there's the guys who aren't. And the guys from last Sunday, for whatever reason, maybe we can give them a get out of jail free card because they were out injured or whatever. But the guys last Sunday would be in tier 2 because they ain't performing.
Yeah.
They certainly didn't.
And you know, Dave, like we've played 8 in the league. We've won 4 and drawn 1. Like, you know, that's a pretty poor record.
It is.
The only thing is that because we managed to pick up 3 points,
it's not actually as bad
by a fluke of the way that the
we
scoring systems
we should be 4 points off where we were last year instead of just the 2, because I mean we got the draw when in reality kind of Treviso may have deserved the win.
But
the other side is we pick up 5 points or 4. We say 5 points against a weak Ospreys on Saturday. We could, depending on how results go, we could be second.
Well, our margin for error in the league is gone.
Oh, it's slipped. It's completely slipped. Yes,
it's gone. We now need to start kicking ass big time in the league. We probably need to go to Thomond Park and win on Stephen's Day, which, you know, you'd kind of laugh at the thoughts of doing that at the moment. But you know, that's the kind of thing we need to do now, because the way the fixtures fall over Christmas, we're going to have to rest players because there's going to be Ireland camps and there'll be player arrest. You know, we'll probably pick Munster because it's our away one. We'll probably pick that to rest the players because we want them. You know, we'll at least blend that in Connacht.
Yeah, we're only 6 points off the top of the league, which is surprising after with such a poor
see, that's
run
what I'm
of
saying.
results.
I mean, there is an element. There's a larger picture of people are like a league campaign isn't a sprint. We've seen that before. We've
just that we're not dead in the water. It's just our margin for error.
We've won leagues, or certainly top leagues, from worse positions coming into Christmas.
Yeah, and I think a few of the results at the weekend played into our hand. Like we
They
we-
teed it up
we-
for us.
That's the galling
we,
thing.
We got 3 points that we did.
Yeah.
I don't think we deserved any. But apart from maybe the 4 tries we got, but our performance was so appalling. Then Ulster beat the Ospreys and denied them a bonus point, so held them back.
That's the result. We got exactly the result we wanted pretty much everywhere.
And similar to Scarlets, they denied Glasgow a bonus point.
Yeah.
Could have done with Munster not at
Actually,
least
I
not
think
getting a
Glasgow
bonus
got a
point.
bonus point. It was 16.
Yeah, but it was a loss.
Yeah, it was a loss.
So and their points total didn't exceed what had
It was
previously.
19-9. They didn't get a bonus point.
No, didn't. No.
Oh, sorry, it was 16-9. So you're right.
But again, all the other results went our way. So to a certain extent, we've kind of.
The league is compressed a little
The
bit.
league is compressed. The other results that would have worked in our favour if we'd won and propelled us up the table have stopped us going down the table.
Well, put it this way:
Um,
Scarlets are 2 points behind us, Connacht are 1 point behind us, and
Yeah.
Glasgow are 2 points ahead. So we're kind of,
It's all bunching up a bit.
it's quite bunched up. There's only 8 points between the top 7.
Up until 2 o'clock on Sunday, one of the biggest problems O'Connor had, and as Leinster supporters looking on and trying to think how a pick team had, was a 10, right? Because neither player had either played himself into or out of that jersey. One of them has now.
For sure.
Yeah. Has Madigan had enough game time at 10 though this season even?
He's had a fair
I
bit.
think he has. I
Has
think people always say that, and the stats tend to end up. I mean, last season people say he hadn't played enough at 10. He played more at 10 than any other player in
Well,
Leinster.
he's played a lot at 12, but in fairness, playing at 12
Yeah.
is, it's next door to playing at 10, and it's
Literally.
you
But
learn a lot.
His actual game time at 10 is a lot more than people think it is. When you add it all up, if you go in games and you add it all up, but he's going to get more now because I think that for the first time in the 18 months that he's been here, Goppert has played himself out of the team. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, absolutely. I would hope to see. And the other factor on it is that previously we've had a lot of guys missing. We had McFadden, Dave Carney, Luke Fitzgerald all out at the same time, who are guys who can play anywhere. 2 of those especially can play anywhere in the back line.
The only thing I don't...
Now, with those guys back, it means it frees up Madigan to play at 10,
Well,
whereas
we
before
don't
he would
know
have
if
needed
they're
to fill
back.
in.
We know that Dave Carney's back, but okay, we had the whole thing with Luke and getting injured in the warm-up. I don't trust Leinster Rugby's team selections anymore, right? Because they told us that Rob Kearney cried off in the warm-up in the game against Munster when you and I and you knew on the Wednesday that he wasn't playing.
Yeah.
Right? So is this another one of those Wednesday warm-up cry-offs? I mean, it's hard to know because if your organisation's kind of lying to you,
Well,
Yes.
anyway, we play the Ospreys. Speaking of Welsh, and obviously South Africa are in the Millennium Stadium as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah,
on
Gives us a
weekend.
little bit of a break.
in the
Jesus
God, let
knows.
us play Glanmore's debt off
We
game.
we need it. We really need that little break from the Ospreys. They are looking like they're going to have to play a few semi-pro players, and especially at prop, which is good because that's where we're weak as well. Can't see Jack McGrath and Mike Ross playing anywhere after playing 80 minutes against the Australians in one of the fastest games in world rugby. There's no chance that they're going to be playing. So that leaves us. That's our only 2 props
I have to say,
playing
I'm
for
really
Ireland.
happy with how Tyke Furlong. I mean, things
Like
are.
Furlong's great.
I mean, he's another one who gets a pass from thing. I think.
Yeah,
I'm
well-
really happy with how he's developed over the last couple of weeks.
Absolutely, and Bent at loose head is solid as well. I've no problem with him.
And where did it all go wrong,
It drops.
John?
It drops off.
I tell you,
I
it was
mean,
Kevin
generally.
McLaughlin. I said it was Kevin McLaughlin standing there on his own, like.
I mean, generally, I've no problem with the 2 of them. But you're down to a second-year academy guy in Peter Dooley and Jamie Hagan, who's been running fairly cold for London Irish. He played 10 minutes at the end. To be honest, I've no memory
We
of
found the scapegoat.
anything he did. People are going to be jumping there from the noise of that.
Please tell me we were leading when he came on.
Poor old Jamie Hagan. You can't hang that on him for 10 minutes at the end of the game. Anyway.
Well, anyway, hopefully some of the Irish boys that are coming back into the team will bring a little bit of confidence. There has to be, a few of them that, like Madigan, I presume, is going to come straight back in.
Madigan and Redden, I would presume, and that's a good control and set of halfbacks to have.
Well, if we assume that everyone who's supposed to be fit actually is fit, then
we'll have a great team.
yeah. But you Madigan and Redden hopefully will come back. Hopefully we'll have Luke.
A less rusty Geordie and Dave.
Yeah, less rusty. Another game under their belts. Dominic Ryan back. Jack Conan back. Another game. Again, I mean, he had a fucking disaster against Treviso, but he's a guy I've been happy with, whose progress I've been happy with this season.
Who?
Yeah, Jack Conan.
Conan, yeah.
Yeah, I've been happy. I mean,
that try.
Yeah,
like
I mean, you can damn him.
Yeah,
I mean, you have to damn him for. I mean, the basic of his job is the transfer between 8 and 9.
Yeah.
You know, but and obviously the back row failure. But generally this season, I mean, you can't. If you're looking at a player's development, you can't just take one game and say that ruins everything else, because it doesn't.
Yeah.
And I've been happy with his development this season. I mean, he's in a terrible position. It is probably the worst position in professional rugby to be Jamie Heaslip's backup.
Understudy.
Because the guy doesn't get injured. He's made of adamantium. You know? So
even Adamant has to send off for him. Never mind.
Yeah.
We won't go there.
But he doesn't get injured. So your only chances are these games.
The thing was that I thought about that try, he looked so accomplished on the ball. He made the break, he beat his man, and a lot of players would either have flung out a crap pass or gone to ground with the ball to set
especially
up.
forwards.
I'll tell you what the forward would have, what you would have thought the forward would have. The forward would have gone for the easy pass to Gopperth next to him.
Yeah.
But Gopperth was actually, there was a guy just kind of waiting for Gopperth to get that pass, because he expected Cohen to give it to him, and he didn't. He spun out a lovely pass, and a delightful pass to Dave Kearney.
Yeah.
Who just had to walk in, basically.
Yeah.
Well, I read somewhere that when we won the Grand Slam, we played, I can't remember, I think it was like 24 players in the entire campaign. And in the first 2 matches, I think we played over 30.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, the classic example, now, obviously, Irish rugby has developed a lot since then, but in 2007, we had 18 and some other guys who also got free sportswear. But that was pretty much it, you know. That was O'Sullivan's thinking. I've got the 15 guys on the pitch. I've got these guys who are subs, and the rest of the guys are there to fill out the plane and keep the charter prices down.
And didn't Jamie Heaslip and Stephen Ferris not even
and they didn't even make
the plane?
Whereas now, okay, that was 2007. Rugby in Ireland had really only been professional. They'd been pretending to be professional since '95, really only since 2000. We were only at it for 7 years. We're nearly 15 years into the process now, and you can see the difference that the academy system has made in churning out players for Irish coaches. Joe Schmidt is I think the previous incumbent didn't take the opportunities he had, but I think Joe Schmidt is the second coach who's had this huge wealth of talent available to him and has used it.
Yeah. But the net has been spread wider,
Yeah.
like as you
Absolutely,
mentioned earlier
yeah.
about
Our depth is
5 from Connacht and whatever.
pretty
You know,
phenomenal.
whereas before it was
compared to what
you
it
know,
was.
all the forwards came from Munster, all the backs came from Leinster, Ulster and Connacht.
Got one each.
Yeah, and very little contribution into the. So now there's far more players being spread around, and therefore they're going to be dripped back into the provincial teams with that experience coming in.
There are quite literally 50 or 60 players that, okay, you wouldn't play all 50 or 60, we can't, but you wouldn't, there are at least another 15 who won't make the World Cup plane who would have a justifiable claim on it. Now, that's phenomenal for us. That's something that the All Blacks have had. Also, we've always would have suffered when we had our big players missing, and more than 2 of our starters missing would have been, that's it, forget about it.
Well,
we don't have that problem, and not only that, but if you look at guys like New Zealand, like you take Kieran Reid, Brodie Retallick, and other out of that New Zealand pack, they don't have the replacements that are going to be up to that level.
I was going to say that,
and we're a similar kind of we're not as good without, if you took Paul O'Connell, Jamie Heaslip and other out of our pack, of course we wouldn't look as good, but we would get by almost as well as they would.
Well, we were talking last week. We were saying about Keith Woods getting into the Hall of Fame, and we were saying, there was him and maybe the two props were our only world class players, and if we didn't have them, we were boned.
Totally gone,
right?
Yeah.
We were missing a bunch of world class players.
If you said at the start of the
and
season,
we beat the Springboks and we beat the Wallabies.
Yeah, and you're going to be missing O'Brien, and you're going to be missing Cian Healy, and Dricko is gone. Okay, I know he was on the wane for the last season, but he was still magnificent in some of the Six
You're not going to
Nations
have
games.
either of the wingers from last year's Six Nations.
Yeah.
You're not going to have Stephen Ferris. He's going to be gone. Chris Henry's going to be gone.
And the centre is going to be injured, whether it's Payne,
Yeah.
this new centre, or the old centre.
You can make it. I mean, it just the depth that's there is amazing. I mean,
think it's pretty good.
it's
And they're churning out more every year. Like look at the amount of centres that are currently in the Leinster Academy.
yeah,
There's a
exactly.
wealth
But we were also
people are talking about getting Henshaw over from Connacht. What the hell are you doing? Let him develop in Connacht, and we'll get one of those guys. I mean, there's a list of 3 or 4.
I've heard, I mean, the rumor made the paper today, and the interesting thing it was Des Berry who wrote about it, who's always written the Leinster articles for the Leinster supplement in the Independent. And the fact that he was writing that article says something. I'd said that to you guys there. I'd heard it last summer.
Leo Cullen was asked about it.
Yeah, was he asked about it?
Yeah.
What did he say?
He said,
Poured some cold water on it, but
well, he just said,
Said
"Oh,
all
look,
this
it'd be
number
great
of
to have,"
yeah.
but I don't know anything about
I
it.
would say if Connacht don't make the European Cup, then Mr. Henshaw will be moving east. If they do, then he won't.
Yeah.
I hope
But
they do.
might be the-
for 2 reasons then. Because I like to see, you've got Farrell, Ringrose, and who's the third guy? There are 3 13s in there that are looking pretty good.
Yeah.
One of those guys has got to be a great player. Ringrose was player of the.
Ringrose is the real thing, I think.
He was under 20s nominee, just like
Jamie.
Jamie, yeah,
Gareth
I was gonna say
That's the other side. That's the other side of it.
Wasn't Hanrahan?
He was JJ
nominated?
Hanahan was
Yeah,
nominated
that's
for
who I
that
was
as well.
thinking
Yeah.
of. So that guys like that don't come along every day of the week.
I'd be ambivalent whether he comes or not. But if Connacht don't make Heineken Cup, he's going to have to move, and so's Marmion. I mean, it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
I mean, these are guys that were going into.
But would
World,
it, would
it's
it
gonna
not
be the
make
ambition of the
sense
player,
to
isn't
put
it?
Henshaw in Munster if you're looking from an
Maybe-
Irish point
maybe
of view?
Maybe, but it's got to.
And maybe Marmion in Leinster.
But he's got to have the ambition to say,
that was
"Well,
gonna
I want to
happen.
play at European Cup level." Now, there's only 20 teams in the thing now. You know what I mean? Like it's the best players are going to play for the best clubs, and there's less of those. So if he's not, if his own club isn't going to go, then he's going to have to.
if Connacht weren't to make it, in terms of the, if you like, the big sense of the whole thing, right? If Connacht weren't going to make it, it would make more sense to send Henshaw south and Marmion east.
Yeah.
The only thing is that
But I don't think that would I think Munster have a plan for your man
Playing though.
Blayendal to naturalise him, and Henshaw might get in the way of that plan. Because remember, they have guys coming back. I mean, there was talk in the paper today, first time his name has been mentioned in a while, Keith Earls. He hasn't gone away, I mean, he's still a superb player, and I think Munster still see him as a centre.
well, he doesn't have any confidence on the wing, Dave.
Does he not?
No, he came out and said that.
Does he?
Yeah.
I think he's a top-notch winger.
He's the best winger. He's a better winger than he is.
Yeah, I
centre.
think he's an international class finisher as a winger. As a centre, I think he looks. He's good because he's a good player
And he's fast.
and he's fast.
He's
But
good
I don't.
enough for Heineken Cup level, just about. but
Just about,
Not
but,
international.
Well, he was shown up against in that match in Twickenham when we were stuffed where the scrum went backwards. the
Yeah,
other way to
but
Knox.
as a winger, as an international winger, I think I'd never have any worry about him. I think he's better than pretty much all the options except maybe Bow. As a winger, I think I'd have him straight into the Irish, or near enough straight into the Irish team as a winger. Certainly, yeah.
Well, anyway, thanks very much, boys. And thanks a million for watching. Cheers.